IPS Mahi Sharma UPSC CSE topper and IS Anand Sharma UPSC CSE topper both have attained success in UPSC CSE 2023. Can you guess what's common between them? Both opted sociology for CSE main as optional paper. Both have scored good marks in optional paper. Both have prepared sociology optional under teaching and mentorship of Vikas Ranjan Shar with Sociology Foundation to Finale program. Just like Mahi Sharma and Anand Sharma, many aspirants have changed their dreams into reality. IS Medha Anand, IS Shivans Rathi, IS Yash Kumar Sharma, IPS Anurag Chopra, IPS Vanita Prakash, IPS Vivek Singh, IRS Riju Srivastava and many more. Prepare Sociology Optional for UPSC CSE under teaching and mentorship of Vikas Ranjan Shar.
Hello friends, I am Pratiksha Kale. I have secured All India Rank 2 in Indian Forest Service Examination 2023. As our marks are out, I can see that agriculture engineering has played a very important role in my success. It was one of my two options. Today, I would like to share my strategy for this optional. As we know, choosing an optional is itself a very important thing. So I have thought about some parameters based on which we should choose our options. Here, we can have 3 to 4 parameters. First thing is that we should have interest in that subject and what is our background in that subject, whether we have studied it in graduation or at any other stage in our academic phases. So I chose agriculture engineering because it was overlapping with many of my previous academic achievements. One is regarding mechanical engineering. I have done my graduation in mechanical engineering, and in the syllabus of agriculture engineering, there are 2 chapters which are from that background. Also, in my training during my assistant conservator of forest, I have studied chapters like soil and moisture conservation and some things related with GIS remote sensing. So I chose this optional because of this background. Apart from that, this is a very rewarding optional in consideration to the marks. Considering the experience of some of my friends from agriculture engineering background, I thought that this will give sufficient marks to clear this examination. Apart from that, we have to always think about ease with that particular subject. And fourth thing, I will consider the availability of resources and syllabus. So here today, I will share what I done for preparing this particular optional and practicing all the exam related requirements for this optional. Here, first thing we have to think about syllabus. Looking towards the agriculture engineering syllabus, which is notified in UPSC's IFS notification, we can see that it is a very vast syllabus. And true, it is a very vast syllabus because we have almost 8 chapters. Within that, 4 chapters are very bulky, and one might be intimidated because of these 4 chapters. So gradually, I would like to share syllabus and resources which I have followed during this preparation, as well as the way I have planned my strategy. I will try to go by chapter and will provide you with the resources which I have followed. So going with the first chapter, that is soil and water conservation in paper 1 section A, I have tried to read the basics from this book, that is Dr. R. Suresh. Along with that, I have supplemented my knowledge with the agriculture engineering volume 1 of Dr. Michael and Oza. With these 2 books, I have tried first to read these chapters selectively depending on the need which is prescribed in the syllabus. We can see this is a very difficult topic because of its conceptuality. From these 2 books, we can cover entirely all the different sections of the syllabus. However, apart from theory, we have to solve numericals in the exam. These numericals are also given in these 2 books. So I have tried to practice these numericals in separate notebook. Along with that, there will be different kinds of diagrams and formulas which we have to memorize and use in our answers. So I have tried to maintain a separate notebook for those kind of diagrams and formulae. In soil and water conservation, apart from these two books, for conceptual understanding, I have tried to follow different kind of YouTube resources. For example, NPTEL lectures, also some lectures by Nisha Trivedi ma'am, also some lectures from the Gate for All. So this kind of free material available on YouTube, I have tried to use. As we move to the next chapter, that is aerial photography and remote sensing. We can cover this chapter from different books. However, being a forestry student also, I have tried to cover basics of this chapter from one book, that is the Maniknandan and Prabhu, which I have used for forestry also. Apart from that, we can find some of the relevant points in agriculture engineering volume 1 and volume 2 as well by Michael and Oza. This aerial photography and remote sensing chapter needs to be supported with the current affairs. That is, what kind of developments are being practiced in India as well as at the global platform. We can always enrich our answers from such kind of examples. Moving to the section B of paper 1, we have chapter irrigation and drainage. For that chapter, I have used irrigation special book of irrigation theory and practice, again by A.M. Michael. This book gives us a nice idea about what are the basics of irrigation and drainage, and almost every subsection of this chapter is covered with this book. So I have tried to again read most of the chapters completely to have conceptual understanding. Apart from that, if someone finds that something is not able to be understood from this book, then there is the Agriculture Engineering Volume 1 and Volume 2 to support the further studies. Agricultural structures is the fourth chapter, and for that there is no particular or complete source availability. Again, for that there are 2-3 books which we are generally using. That is Jagdish Sahai book, which is used for the farm power and machinery and agriculture engineering volumes. Here we have to cover some of the topics from the YouTube resources or Google resources also. Here also one can supplement the answer with examples from the different kind of your situations, maybe the practical examples. Nextly, moving to the paper 2, section A is farm power and machinery. As I have said, I have done my graduation in mechanical engineering, so this was something which I had some prior knowledge. For this section, I have used the Jagdish and Sahai book, that is Elements of Agricultural Engineering. I have tried to read this book, and it is a complete book which covers all the subsections. So I have read this book thoroughly for this particular chapter. The examples for agriculture, this chapter, are also provided in this book. For the numericals, we can again supplement with the Agriculture Engineering Volume 1 and 2. In agro-energy, this is again a chapter where we will find less material in consolidated form. However, some of its part is covered in this book, which we can cover. By the current affairs, like what are the different initiatives which government is taking, especially in the renewable energy formats. In the section B of paper 2, the first part is agriculture process engineering, and this is a very vast topic for memorization. For agricultural processing operations, I have used this K.M. Sahai and Singh book. Again, it has theory given in a very good and elaborate way. Along with that, numericals that to solve are given in this book. So, this book covers unit operations. However, one may find that it is very difficult to memorize. In that condition, one can again go back to the YouTube resources, where by putting a particular unit operation, you can find so many videos, and whichever is comfortable, you can use it for your conceptual understanding. This chapter has various processes and it needs lot of memorization with revisions at least 4-5 times. So I will suggest that this is the chapter which should be studied first, and then it should be kept on revising. And the last chapter in the section B, that is instrumentation and computer applications in agricultural engineering. This chapter can be covered with the agricultural engineering volumes. Again, in this chapter also, depending on our engineering background, for example, for the students of computer, instrumentation, electronics, these kind of backgrounds can help in understanding this chapter very well. Here also, for the conceptual understanding, we have to use the YouTube resources. Overall, you can see that there are these 5-6 books which I have used for studying. So let me tell my strategy how I have proceeded throughout my preparation. In the end of the video, I will show all the books again correctly. So here I can say that I have started always with the books. Any chapter, suppose for example, I have taken the chapter of soil and moisture conservation. In that, I have tried to first cover the book. I have tried to mark whatever are the subsections from that book, and then I have read them thoroughly till I understand them. So if we see, for every bulky chapter, I required almost 15 to 20 days to read that chapter from these books. After first reading, it was almost 2.5 months which I took for completing my entire agricultural engineering syllabus. After that, I planned for revisions. For example, my first revision was for 1 month from mid-September to mid-October. I completed my first revision, and then the revisions of lesser duration were followed. For example, the second revision and third revision was of 15 and 7 days each, and similarly 2-3 days revision, fourth revision, and the fifth revision before actual examination. So this kind of way I tried to have my own plan and strategy. Now let me tell why it is needed. As we have seen, this is a very bulky syllabus and it is not possible to memorize it thoroughly. In that case, understanding that too conceptually is very important to solve twisted questions in the actual exam. As we can see, nowadays the questions are coming in the interlinked form. The questions which have been interlinked from one chapter to other chapter. In that case, conceptual understanding is very much important. So, as I have told, it took 2.5 months to complete the syllabus. It was because I was always trying to have better and better understanding. It was supplemented by different kind of YouTube videos, different kind of notes which were available on the YouTube and Google platforms. So that provides you conceptual understanding and you can answer twisted questions also in the exam. Here, second thing comes in the mind, how to revise these things, because when we see these books, it seems to be very bulky, and to cover these bulky books for revising, it will be time consuming. And second thing comes in the mind, how shall we revise in the exam, because we will be moving to particular center and we can't take all of these books with us. So in my first reading itself, I was trying to have my own notes. However, there was one bigger obstruction in front of me, that it was very time consuming, and as a working aspirant, I have time limits. When I approached my friends, they suggested me to follow notes of toppers. So I decided that I should bring the notes of toppers, and just for revision, I will be using them by adding my points from my readings. However, here I got help from one of my friends. Generously, he gave his all notes to me. These notes are nothing but compilation of toppers notes. For example, there are notes from 3-4 toppers are available in the market. My friend has compiled all of them in a manner that it covers all the subsections of all the chapters. So it was a ready to read resource for me. I am really thankful to my generous friend who provided all these notes to me. For the aspirants, I will just show these were the notes. It covered such one notebook covered 2 chapters. So this was such 4 notebooks were there with me in the exam preparation till the end. So I could revise easily from these notes, and apart from that, I have added my own points in these notes. Why I think that this is most important? Because even if we read and even if we understand, this subject is bulky, and that's why it requires a lot of revisions. If we have such kind of compiled notes, then we can do it very easily. That's why my suggestion to the aspirants will be, after reading, please have your own notes. They can be compiled from the toppers notes as I have used, or you can have your own notes prepared. I am not so okay with the ready-made notes in the first hand because I need conceptual understanding. That's why I have followed books. However, if you are comfortable, then you can always try only for notes. But still, I will suggest that books will always help to have very clear understanding and to solve the twisted questions. Apart from the theory part, as we know, a very important thing in the agriculture engineering subject is numericals.
What I did for numericals is, after every subsection, I found out all the different numericals in that chapter and I have solved them on my own. We can have a very thorough understanding of previous year questions which are available on the UPSC website itself. From PYQs, we can understand demand of the question paper as well as the type of numericals which are being asked. So, I maintained a separate notebook for the numericals also. The reason for maintaining this was to understand what mistakes I am making in that particular numerical and again solving it plus revising it. I thought then in the exam setup, and as we will be moving near to the exam, it will be difficult to find all the examples from notes, and so I made such kind of numerical notebook in a separate format. This was very handy for me in the exam preparation. In my agriculture engineering paper 1, I have got 163 marks out of 200. It seems that this can be attributed to the solving of numericals, because in actual exam I have solved almost 11 numericals from all the compulsory as well as optional questions, and after my exam when I checked those questions, I think all of them, the final answers were correct. So I think the high score in this particular paper 1 is attributed to solving of the numericals. I will suggest aspirants to maintain such kind of different separate notebook for numericals, solve them again and again. Also, in a particular numerical, it's not only about making and writing all the steps, but it is about the structure also. How, for example, suppose we have any kind of question, we can see that we have to write the given data, then we have to follow it by the solution. We have to always mention which kind of formula we have used. For example, these are the questions from agroenergy. After the given data, we have the solution. We can always write what is the volume of digester, what are the terms involved in it, and at the end we can have a conclusion that what you mean by the answer. So I think such kind of approach provides a holistic answer to a numerical. It will be always helpful, and as I can see, it is always rewarding in terms of marks also. Apart from that, there is a third thing which is very important in agriculture engineering, that is formulas and diagrams. In every theory question as well as numerical, we have to have understanding of what kind of structure it is. So here, I think drawing the diagrams regularly, that too in a limited time, because we can have very elaborate, very clear and neat diagrams with pencil, ruler and everything. However, in exam setup, we have crunch of time. In that condition, we have to make those diagrams only with the pencil or pen, whatever is sufficient and okay for you. In that condition, I think such kind of preparation where we have all diagrams in under one heading will be very helpful to revise also. Not only diagram, but clear writing of the names around the diagram is also important. So these diagrams can be used everywhere in your answers. So I tried to maintain such a notebook with diagrams as well as formulae, so that revising of these formulas is also useful. For this also, I will suggest to the aspirant that while reading, during the first revision, we can start making such small notes which can be helpful in the preparation or in the revision at the 11th hour. Again, the next thing which comes in our mind is about revision. As this is a bulky subject, I planned for almost 5 revisions before actual exam. Yes, because of the time crunches, these revisions were again compromised considering the time duration. For example, I had first revision of 20 days. I planned for 20 days. Second revision of almost 15 days for each paper. Third revision 7 days. And fourth revision of 2 days each. This way, it will help to consolidate the syllabus in our mind and also will improve our own understanding by reducing the mistakes and kind of non-clarity in the examination. Apart from study, this was all about study, making notes and revisions. Now let's go to the next very important thing, that is preparation for the exam and of the exam. As we know, it is a written exam of 200 marks, and for 3 hours we have been given 3 hours for writing the answers. Here, I think in this subject, as we have diagrams, formulae, lot of understanding, lot of recalling, it is time consuming also. So we need to plan the time well in advance. That's why I tried to solve 2-3 years of PYQs in the after my revisions before the exams. So it was like, if we try to incorporate our value additions during the practice mock test, then it will be always helpful to understand what we have to do in the actual exam. That's why I will suggest, please have some of the mock tests and on your own. You can write it on your own, depending, putting yourself in the real time conditions, and you can analyze all the answers afterwards. You can take help of your friends also. So answer writing and structuring of those answers is very important. Also, if you find that still the content is lacking, then you can again go back to the books and fetch some content from those books. This process of mock test will help in improving your answers, quality of your answers, and enriching your answers. Sometimes we know everything, we read everything, but that cannot be replicated in the exam, and that is, I think, that will be the kind of loss or lack of utilizing your knowledge in the exam. So such kind of revisions are very important. I think that is all the strategy which I have shared with you for this agriculture engineering paper rewarded me in terms of 291 marks out of 400 for agriculture engineering. As I shared, 163 in paper 1 and 128 in paper 2 which I got. Now coming to the resource availability from outside. As I shared, I have used the books and notes given by my generous friend, and third thing was the different kind of online resources available. Here I can say that if somebody finds that some source from any kind of YouTube, any kind of compiled source from YouTube is usable, then please go for it. However, from my own experience, by reading through the books and by supplementing it with the needed resources, we can have thorough coverage of agriculture engineering, and help from the friends who are preparing for this particular paper, you can get good scores. I have a Telegram channel, that is Forester Pratiksha. I have been trying to share my resources in scanned format on that channel. So I will suggest all of you to plan this subject in a well planned way and execute it depending on your time constraints and your understandings. It will be always rewarding. And the last thing which I would like to share is handling actual exam paper. As we see, in every paper there will be two sections, and we have some compulsory questions and some of the questions which we have to decide. So as most of the people are of the view that we should solve two questions which are optional from the section A itself. Here my opinion is little different. I think we should not get prejudiced with which questions to be solved or from which section. We have question 1 and question 5 compulsory. There is no choice for that. However, in question number 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 we have choice. In the exam situation, first we should check the entire question paper and all the questions should be read properly, and get an idea that how many questions from each section, each sub question you are able to understand and you can easily solve them. Because in the exam setup we will always feel that we are not able to solve every question. In that situation, I think the best strategy is to have what is the aggregate and what will be the good marks from each subsection. On that basis, on the basis of marks, you should decide which question to be solved. For example, this year question 2, question 3, every question contained numericals, and it might be difficult for those who have decided that I won't be solving numericals. In that scenario, I went with the 2 questions from section A and 1 question from the section 2. However, it was not based on the which core area or applicative area, but it was based on my own understanding that I am getting more marks by solving these questions. So my simple request is, don't prejudice yourself with what question to be solved. It should be the decision based on the question paper, its difficulty level, and your own simplicity and ability to answer those questions in a well-informed way. That's why, as I was knowing 2 questions in a very good way from the section A, I solved those 2, and probably that has helped me to score good marks in both the papers. There is one more thing which we have to understand very clearly. In this paper, the section A generally comprises of the core of the subject, and the paper, the section 2 or the second part of every paper is about applicative part. In the core part we have to give the theories, we have to give the formulas, whereas in the second part, that is applicative part, we have scope for giving some example. For example, in watershed management, we can always supplement with some kind of example. In kind of the unit operations, we can give the real-time example. For example, Amul in the dairy industry. So, have your own ideas of value addition to improve your scores. In totality, I can say that being a technical paper, here you have lot of scope to improve your factfulness in the exam setup, in the answers, with your formulae, with the diagrams, with different kind of examples, and moreover it is about numericals. If you are thorough and you have a good hand over numericals, then please don't hesitate to solve those numericals. I feel that solving the numericals with the right steps will always give you better marks than the theory. So overall, I will suggest to the aspirant to choose this optional depending on your own parameters. However, it requires quite a good amount of time, almost 3 to 4 months for a good preparation considering good scores in the exam. Based on that, you can choose this and you can follow different kind of strategies by toppers also, then have your own strategy for the exam and follow it. Thank you.